Hoopa Unbound post-home release has been a really legit mon in the Pokemon Home metagame. Now, this Pokemon has been around for spanning 4 generations, but this generation, it seems like it could be the strongest yet, or at least in the last 3 generations that is. Now, we already know Hoopa Unbound. It has a ridiculous base stat total of 680, which is around legendary status, and it has amazing stat distribution with huge offensive potential, great special bulk, but poor physical bulk. Poor physical bulk has honestly held it back in the past couple generations. The reason is simple. There are 2 main factors: fast U-turn users and Pursuit. Pursuit is a dark type move that deals more damage for switching out, essentially punishing Hoopa Unbound every time he wants to get out of a bad matchup, and that really costed a lot of HP. And the U-turn for fast Pokemon basically killed it since it was 4 times weak to bug. Obviously, U-turn is still pretty relevant for this Pokemon, but Pursuit is the one move that has actually had more of an impact on this Pokemon. U-turn's like whatever, we see that on like every Pokemon these days. With no Pursuit in the game now, Hoopa is now able to unleash onto the metagame and switch out against threats it doesn't like. Pursuit usually held Hoopa in check because it was basically a one-on-one trap, and because his physical defense is god-awful, Hoopa was powerless and useless and thus took a ton of damage, and this is without mentioning the role of hazards. Pursuit was basically the one obvious check to this Pokemon, to which Tyranitar and Weavile would take the pleasure of coming in onto a switch and decimating it down to no ends. And having a Pokemon that is really good for a trade-off with another Mon from an opponent's side till it's eventually doomed with Pursuit actually had this thing in UUBL during its last competitive stand in Sun and Moon. There was no sense of running Hoopa if the most common popular Pokemon exploited it to the ends, and because of that, it seemed like it would never regain prosperity again like in Generation 6. Fast forward to 2023 and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet forgot what this move even is. Heck, it's not even in Generation 9 anymore. Hoopa has no legit obvious counter check no more. It's free now to come in on anything, especially special attackers, and if there's a matchup it doesn't like, or is choiced, or is just not favored, just switch out into a Pokemon like Great Tusk, Hisuian Goodra, Dozo, Skeledurge, etc. Like, it's not forced to be in a matchup and no longer likes to have in. This is such a great positive for this Pokemon. This especially applies to also U-turn users that are pretty common like Landorus Therian. U-turn is still a pretty obvious check to this Pokemon, but there are just great defensive mons lurking in the tier, and obviously no Pursuit stopping this Pokemon switch around as it desires, because who's gonna really stop it? Before I keep talking about Hoopa, I do have a very important announcement to make to all of you guys right now. We are on the road to 8K subscribers now, and I need your guys' help. I make competitive Pokemon content like this all the time, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys will definitely like what's coming in the future. A lot of you guys who are watching are not subbed, so if you guys enjoy, it would really mean a lot for your guys' support. Anyways, back to the video. Choice Banner Hyperspace Fury is now just spammable because it can just stay in on how long it wants and thrives with special attackers especially in front of it because of its high special defense stat. So theoretically, if you have a special attacker in, it can go for 2 free Choice Banner moves and then pivot out if you bring in a physical Pokemon. The base 80 speed is, yeah, a huge downside, but still no Pursuit. It has in fact let it roam in the meta so freely, so it's honestly not that big of a concern. That's not all, however. With Magearna, Regieleki, and other bans in the format, Hoopa Unbound has become more and more relevant because of the lack of power levels slowly declining in the OU tier as Pokemon shift more and more into Ubers. Honestly speaking, this thing could eventually be banned, and with the talk of Zamazenta Hero form being banned this upcoming weekend, it's now at long last Hoopa Unbound's tier to which it can freely dominate. Whether it's Choice Banded Terra Dark Hyperspace Fury, or Nasty Plot sets, or even Choice Spec sets at times, with the largest offensive firepower by a mile in the tier, it will definitely be the talk of the meta in a matter of mere days. No matter what really switches, in all honesty, they are taking a ton of damage. And like I said, no Pursuit now makes it difficult to help trap Hoopa in for a turn. Even if you think you have the answer, you really don't. And this Pokemon pairs extremely well with hazard users, as the more chip your opponent takes, the easier it is for Hoopa to kill them off by a revenge kill or by them switching in. No Pursuit, Terastilization, and the bans we have had in post-home metagame, lowering the power level and in the OU tiers has undeniably helped Hoopa be more and more relevant, as its high offenses are something to be wanted on every team. Let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about Hoopa Unbound in the metagame, and join the Discord if you haven't already, link in the description as well.